The next 15 minutes I'm going to use to talk about a new approach we're taking for an upcoming title that we're going to launch soon. And it's about launching games with a BAM. And the game, so this is very much a work in progress presentation, I have to say, up front, because we haven't launched the game yet, but we obviously already have started doing the marketing for it. So I can tell you why we did it, I can tell you how we did it, but if it's good or bad, I don't know. It's a bit risky, I know, but you can be the judge in 3 weeks and say for yourself. The game I'm talking about is called Agent Alice. We're going to globally launch it on February 26th, so in actually really 3 weeks, 21 days. And it's a hidden object game set in the 1960s, starring this character Alice Wallace, who's solving mysteries, crimes, puzzles, and it's a very story-driven game, but also innovates a lot on the hidden object game mechanic with adding some very nice puzzles, all framed into a very nice story. And one of the things that really stand out for the game, I think, is that it was really optimized for the smartphone, right? So we have a lot of hidden object games on the market that originally started on Facebook or Web Canvas and or for the iPad, right? And this game we built completely for smartphones, so we started really there. And still, if you like, you can also play it on the iPad. You will have the same experience, but you will benefit from a bit nicer art, a bit more details, but really it's the same experience. So we decided to scale up and start from the smallest size and not scale down starting from a bigger size, right? So to give users really the perfect experience. And the reasoning here is really that we believe strongly that smartphones are the #1 gaming device out there at the moment and will continue to be. I mean, looking just at the sales, I think this is true, at least for the next couple of years. So thankfully, we already have a lot of experience with the other game we launched 2 years ago, Pearl's Peril, a hidden object game as well, starring another character, Pearl Wallace. Maybe you see the connection. And the game was really successful on Facebook, and we also launched it on the iPad. So we have some experience with that. We know, for example, really well that the audience, what the audience looks like, and we already have an audience that is very engaged with the fan page, for example, with about 3 million likes, right? And the game has a really, really great retention. So if you played the game for about 3 days in a row, then it's very unlikely that you will stop playing within the next couple of months. So it's really great, and people like to talk about it, like to post about it. And that's really something we wanted to use, right? And we wanted to leverage that and make that also work for Agent Alice. But there's another thing that happened over the past couple of months, especially over the last year, and I think many of you noticed that if you look at the top crossing charts on iOS, for example, 2013, 2014, then what really is interesting that 7 out of the top crossing games from 2013, December, are still there, right? So those who are already in the top crossing charts, who already have a very good position in the market, they have it kind of like very easy to defend that position. I'm not saying like it's super easy, right? But they definitely are in advance and an advantage. And that's kind of favored by increasing cost per loyal user, acquisition costs, right? There's a positive trend, not so much for Android, but for iOS devices. We can see that quite strongly, right? And although these may be just a couple of cents, right? That essentially is what you make in the free-to-play market from your users. And another thing I find really interesting is that most users really seem to be happy with the applications they already have on their phones, right? So just a very small fraction is actually really downloading more than one application per month. And I think that's also really interesting. And all that, the engaged community, the increasing costs for user acquisition, like people being kind of happy with the apps they already have, we decided to take up a new approach for Wooga. An approach that, in that sense, is kind of non-measurable and is centering around discussion, creating buzz. And something that is non-measurable is kind of like scary for us because we are actually a very, performance-driven, data-driven company. Most of our decisions are backed with data. So doing something like this was really like, a step for us to take. And I think that's true for many game developers out there. And what we did is we basically looked at, how are other companies doing that, right? That's the easiest way to go. And really looked at, what are console companies doing, what are PC games doing, all these AAA title launches, building up a lot of excitement up front, and then when you release the game, you will have all that excitement in your favor when you're going for, creating revenue, creating installs, creating sales. So that's why, basically, and now for the how. So we kicked it off with something we do for everything. So that's like not really unique in that sense, but I still wanted to dive into that a little bit because we enhanced it. So packaging is basically everything that is, around creating a brand identity for us. So everything that, takes into account how are we going to talk about the game, where are you going to position the game, what kind of assets are we going to use. That's really packaging. And packaging is a lot about testing as well, right? So we often pretend that we already have products that we don't really have and then see how users react to that. So, creating fake landing pages, stuff like this. And the first thing we did in that sense was questioning the positioning of the game, right? The game team obviously already had an idea, but we were wondering, how should we position a hidden object game? There are already a lot of hidden object games out there, that focus on the crime genre. Then we have a lot of games that focus on mystery, and with, we have weekly content updates in Agent Alice, so it kind of feels like a soap opera. So we also wanted to test that. Performed really well, surprisingly. And so what we did is we created like fake app store landing pages, and then try to get an idea, what kind of drives users the most. In the end, it actually ended up being a mix of all of them. So the results were really not 100% clear. But it was good for us to know that, right? So how are we going to talk about the game? Where do we put it? Same counts for all the banner ads, right? So do we go more for an abstract approach? Do we put the character into the focus, or how are we going to do it? How are we going to use the font? We need to find a solution where you can use the font on different backgrounds. Community management needs to use them. Graphics needs to use them. User acquisition needs to use them. Right? So that's always really important. And then obviously this goes on with creating the icons. So we create about 70 to 100 icons per game. We want to launch and then narrow it down to maybe 6 or so, and then find then the one that performs the best by comparing click-through rates. And this is something that never stops, right? So we have that icon now, but maybe in 3 months we'll have another icon again, and then 3 months later we'll have another icon, because this is always something you can iterate on and optimize. Right, and then the same obviously goes for the App Store experience, right? When you open the app, you go to the App Store, you click on the app, and then you see some screenshots. The game is is horizontal, but we decided to go for vertical screenshots. I mean, this maybe sounds like really a small thing, but we wanted to put really a lot of thought into it, and also test it again. And one I think also interesting finding here is put little circles in the screenshots, and indicating very clearly that this is a hidden object game. Just kind of like a little bit of an expectation management for the user. When he installs the app, he knows what he's going to get. And then last but not least, also thinking already about video production. Right? So this is about 3 months before now we started looking into video production, trailers, teasers, but also taking some behind-the-scenes footage. Especially behind-the-scenes footage you got to do early, right? Because otherwise it's going to be too late, or you have to stage it. And all of that, as a result, is basically the brand identity we created up front. And we again could take that brand identity and we used it for teasing. So we took parts of that brand identity, like small snippets, and we put it on for example, Facebook, right? So mysterious Facebook page, nobody knows what it's about, mysterious character, profile picture. And we did that in combination with a very small teaser that I'm going to show now. Tells you nothing, really. I mean, really just focus on the story, but who the hell, what was that about, right? Could be a movie, it could be a game. Is it a hidden object game? 100% not clear at all, right? But then, we got people interested, and then we were able to reel, pieces of the game and the story, really piece by piece. For example, introducing the characters, very mysteriously again, here, who is that? What could she be doing? Okay, it's a woman. She's working together with a guy. Her name is Alice Wallace, and she's a detective or an agent working for a certain agency. And then, introducing more and more of these game characters by time. And that led to a very engaged community, which was really great. The community was not huge back then, right? It was a couple thousand people, but they were very engaged, and they were like communicating with us, and we were communicating back, and yeah, thank you for following us. We're really excited you liked it, and so on. And then we could take that small but very engaged community and use it to leverage us into the phase that I would like to call buzz. So when reaching out then to press, media, to partners, you already have something in your hand that you can show, and you can walk around and tell people, yeah, that's what we have. People are really excited, and that really helps. So one thing, for example, we did was in a featured interview of our CEO, Jens Begemann, was talking about like the game design, development process, about the fan base, about the game, what makes it stand out. And in combination with that, we then launched another trailer that I'm going to show now. So.
To solve a case is never easy. Yet, if you dig deep enough, eventually, you'll catch the killer. But in a world where nothing is what it seems, who can you trust?
Agent Alice, we need you.
And with that, you will notice that actually has a lot of gameplay in there. It connects the dots, introduces again a lot of characters, but really, really clearly shows the gameplay and makes people like, okay, this is what the game is actually about. And also in showing also all the puzzle mechanics and things like that. And giving a clear date, clearly indicating this is for Apple devices, for Google devices, this is a game developed by Wooga, things like that. And that really got people excited again. And because we had then suddenly we went out to the press and got people talking about it, we needed something like a landing page. So we created a landing page. We could channel all the traffic that was not happening on Facebook. Right? It's quite easy to do, but definitely was necessary for us. And then we could channel that traffic back that we had on the landing page back to Facebook. So really helpful in that sense. And also we were able then to leverage the Pearl's Peril user base and also get them excited about the game as well, right? Because Agent Alice essentially is a follow-up to Pearl's Peril. And what's really important about that is that this is all organic traffic, right? This is not paid traffic. We didn't buy the users. We didn't hire a click farm somewhere to please like the page or watch the video or things like that, right? It's organic, and in that sense, it's actually helpful, right? So that's really important to notice at this point. So we're now 3 weeks to go, and we already have like about 150,000 fans on Facebook and 270,000 views on YouTube. And these are some numbers like, if you take into consideration that this is a mobile game, right, and a mobile community especially, right, this is quite good, I think. And now we're at this point, really where we're before actually entering the launch phase, right? We were shortly before activating performance marketing campaigns and things like that, actually now here at Casual Connect. And 21 days to go until the launch. So the next 21 days will all be about sustaining that buzz that we've generated already, which is not really super easy to do, to be honest. So we'll have a set of different, assets that we're gonna use, for example, like behind-the-scenes videos, exclusive events for press, exclusive events for very dedicated fans, interviews, more trailers, things like that. And that's what we're gonna do the next 3 weeks, and you'll be able to witness that, hopefully, right? And then in 3 weeks, when we're all done and we have all that excitement built up, all we need to do is just, throw the bomb and bam, we'll go for the installs. So that's our strategy. It doesn't sound, I think, like the most exciting thing, but it actually is requires a lot of process, a lot of steps to take into consideration. And especially for the mobile gaming industry, I think this is really important to do, because as an industry, we are really numbers driven. But the majority of our work is actually based on creativity. And that creativity is mostly, pouring into the game design and the creation of the games, which is definitely great and very important. But it's also something that we should and can leverage for marketing and bringing also that to the next level. So with that, keep in mind to install Agent Alice on your phones in 3 weeks. And thank you very much.
Do we have any questions for my friend here? All right, all the way in the back.
Hello, my name is Zohar. I'm from Mytopia. How do you deal with so is the latest version of the game is approved by Apple, for example?
Yes.
So you are, okay, so developing is not an issue?
Developing is not an issue, no.
How do you expect a amount of users? How do you manage this in your development team?
You mean in terms of will our backend survive
Exactly.
the big bam?
Exactly.
I'm not. That's no issue really. I think. I mean, we have a couple of games out there like Jelly Splash. Many games actually out there have over 1 million users per day. So I don't think our service will crash. Actually, one of our backend guys said that we can take actually like 5 or 10 times the amount of users we currently have without any problem. So.
Thanks. Last question. What would be considered as a success?
That's a good question. So at Wooga we have that concept of a hit filter where we want to make sure that the game goes through several steps, like a prototyping, a production, soft launch, and then the real global launch. And the game has to prove itself in each of these different steps. And the idea of the hit filter is that we, only release games that have the potential to be a top, 20, top 50 hit game. I think top 50 is already like really, really good results. And I'm talking about crossing charts, not free download charts. So I would say, that is kind of like proven, okay, this was a real success. Right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Borislav from Serbia. You already said you were doing weekly updates of the game. So does the format of the game differentiate from PC Hopa games in terms of length? Like, is it going to be like shorter episodes, or are you just going to unlock new content as you go within the game? Like, how is that thought of?
Yeah. So when users download the game in 3 weeks, they will already have a lot of content to play, probably a couple of months. I'm not 100% sure how much, but I think about 3 months of gameplay. And then, we'll release content updates on a constant basis, like weekly, right? And then when users hit the point where there's no content anymore, then they know for sure, okay, in at least 7 days I will get new content. And yeah, that's basically how it works.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Do your strategies change? So I would say that hidden object is more of an evergreen type of content. Do you do different strategies with games that maybe aren't evergreen, maybe more unique or different?
Yeah, I mean, what we are doing definitely is we are diversifying, right? So we're not only working on very casual games, we're not only working on hidden object games, but we want to make sure that we explore the whole segment of possibilities, different genres. So I think in that sense, yeah, we're following different strategies. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Hi. What would exactly happen on 26th of February from marketing perspective? From your, what would be other offers? Cross promo to all your Wooga games, or all the networks that you work with send traffic?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, basically what we'll do, I mean, we'll be very active. It's just not one day. It will be like more like the week and the week after that, right? I mean, so, you know, community management will do a lot, for example. Then obviously we'll also do some cross-linking. We have some, you know, mobile cross-linking solutions in our games. But I think from that point on, and that's the point of the whole campaign, is, you know, build up such an excitement that, you know, that supports then the performance marketing campaign. So performance marketing still is obviously a #1 driver of installs in the beginning, unless we're lucky and we get featured, for example, right? Obviously, that would also drive installs, but that's not a strategy we play with, right? That's more like it happens or it doesn't happen, but really we focus then, and at that point on the 26th on performance marketing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.